Okay, so this MoticNet 4.0 software is just a further iteration on a concept that they've developed some time ago. And it's really interactive teaching software for schools or universities, basically. I can't imagine you would use it in any setting outside of those. Um, you guys probably don't need to know this part, but I just thought I'd let people know who AIS were. Started in 1981, really as a service company, but have bought on products, particularly Motic microscopes, A&D balancers, some lab tech temperature products, and Acumax pipettes. I'm sure you're aware that we were acquired by Precision Tools and Technology in 2022. We are still finding customers who dealt with the company prior to that and still have their old details for the company in their systems. There's all of our contact details, which you're well aware of. I thought this was an interesting slide. Motic has been around since '88, and they sell 50,000 microscopes a year. And I thought that number sounded like a lot. And they have very good quality products. I'm sure you guys know customers that have microscopes that are 20 plus years old that are still working. I would almost say, as a supplier, the microscopes seem to last forever almost, so they don't break down and they don't need a lot of service, to be honest, apart from sort of every couple of years. Motic also make components for other microscopy companies such as Olympus, and I think we even make some complete microscopes for Olympus, which they sell as Olympus. So software, this version was released a few years ago. It's full wireless architecture, supports Android and iPad, 2G, 2.4G, 5G. It's basically built around the X5 camera, and you can connect up to 60 students with this. There's a Chinese and an English graphical user interface, and the actual software can just be downloaded. So there's no charge as such for the software. So this is roughly what it looks like. You have a teacher running a PC with Windows. The software or the product includes its own router, and then you have students connected either through digital microscopes or just other Wi-Fi enabled devices. In a perfect world, and I've got a couple of examples of that, you would be using, say, the Pantera digital microscope, which is a fairly recent model of microscope, more or less replaced the BA310, and everything's just connected through this 5G router. I don't think we don't sell too many of these. This is, I said again, the Pantera. In a perfect world, you'd have a teacher with a research grade microscope, such as a 410, BA410, and all of the individual students would have digital microscopes and some kind of iPad or tablet or something like that. So it's pretty simple, really. At the end of the day, it is just a dedicated router and a whole bunch of X5 cameras. This project apparently started from Beijing, where they tried to set up just independent Wi-Fi cameras within their own network, but you can't basically network 60 Wi-Fi cameras in one room from your university Wi-Fi, because they get lots of crosstalk and lots of things didn't connect properly. So Motic decided to build a special router that would only connect with these cameras. You're pretty familiar, I'm assuming, with the X5 Wi-Fi camera. It's been around for a while. It's a 4 megapixel camera. The camera itself, if it's used as a standalone device, can actually connect up to 6 other tablets. So At a really simple level, you could use this as a teaching tool to connect to 5 student cameras, for instance, or 5 student microscopes. So all of the assorted details. To use an X5 camera, you don't have to have a digital microscope or even a trinocular microscope like this one here on the right. You can actually just use the eyepiece and focusable lens that's provided in the box with the camera. So effectively, any even monocular student microscope can be connected to the X5 camera. I think you're already aware of this, but we meaning Motic, have just released a 4000X and a 4000X with a built-in tablet as a Wi-Fi camera. So in principle, this could be used in place of an X5, although it's about 3 times the price because it's an 8 megapixel camera now. And really the concept is very simple. The software obviously can also be in English. So basically the teacher's content can be projected to the class and effectively can go backwards and forwards. So the student's content can be seen by the teacher and so on. So we have a classroom and the students, as said, can all just bring their own devices to the class itself and show the images that they're seeing on their microscope or even other things that they've collected in the past and share it with the teacher. So the teacher has their controlling screen and all the students basically have their different devices connected. And again, the teacher sees what the students see or can see an individual student's screen and so on. And what is kind of cool is that you can actually chat within the software. So the teacher can talk to student number 36 or student number 3, as it is in this case, and can say, hello, student 4, you're looking at the wrong image. Can you move the stage around or something like that? Or can you send me what you're seeing? So the student sees something and can then talk to the teacher. And it's really not any more complicated than that, basically. The students can interact with the teacher and vice versa. I think the teacher can freeze all the screens and so make them just look only at what the teacher is seeing. And I mean, it's really, I think I've got some examples here. So plenty of users in China, as we might imagine, this being Motic being a Chinese company. We do have quite a few international users. The most prominent one for us here is Monash University locally, which is about 20 minutes from our office. And they do have a very large teaching lab in the biology building that probably does hold, I think, 60 microscopes. They've got 60 BA 210s with cameras. And it kind of makes sense if you're doing, say, a first-year university class. Something like this would work really well in such a large environment. And now I've got some examples. They seem to have, I think China has more money than we do for spending on their teaching and university resources. There's, I don't know, what's that, 50 Panteras at about $3,000 a pop, all getting ready. And I've just got a few examples of some different universities. This is just good to look at the scale of some of these places. This is just a modest looking lab setup. Another one in Beijing. This is a pretty decent sized lab setup at this agricultural college. This one is enormous. I don't know where Sun Yat-sen University is, but there's got to be, how was that, 90, 100 microscopes in that class. So again, for something of this scale, I think this software kind of makes a lot of sense. Not most of I guess if you think of the class size in Australia, by the time they get to year 12 and are looking at binocular microscopes, there's probably only a dozen or so people in the room. So it may not be so relevant there, but apart from the exercise of going through a digital kind of laboratory setup, the same university, different college, and another one with another bloody 80 microscopes. So really that's all it is. I said a short presentation, primarily intended for the X5 camera. I think the bottom point I put here is it is simple to install and use, and it's really not that costly apart from the cost of buying the X5 cameras, and you can use your existing microscopes that you have there already in the classroom. And that was it. So you're now trained on MoticNet 4.0. Any questions?
That was a lot of microscopes, that's for sure. So
I stitched a couple of presentations together, and I was just impressed with some of the class sizes that they had there. It's like, wow.
I know before I started here at Perth Scientific, I think we set up at the, I think it was the University of UWA Zoology Department, and I think they had 30 or 40 microscopes there, but I think they're all the B1s at the time.
B1s, right.
And UWA has also a medical side where they have a microscopy room as well that have 40, 50 microscopes. And I think for the last 5 years I've quoted the BA210, the BA310 about 5 times for them to review it, but they never seem to have the budget to do it at the moment. So I might certainly go along this line with the MoticNet and see if that might serve some interest. But like you said, the outlay at the start is quite high. But
we have that special on the BA210, right? You know about that.
Yeah.
So I think it's 700 for your price is $730 or something.
I think so. Yeah. So
in fact, we got an order. Yeah, we saw that, got that order for a couple of them. So that almost makes sense then. And then you can, but you still need to buy the camera. So I think I saw a price for, I think it was about, sell price was about $6,000 for the router and 7 cameras.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So
now, and they're all X5 cameras, are they?
And they're all X5 cameras.
Oh, X5, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, and I don't know if it gets cheaper if you were to buy more, but presumably it would a little. But yeah, supposedly it will do up to, as it says, up to 60 students, which is probably about as big a class size as I think I would imagine in a university in Australia.
Yeah, you certainly be the upper end, that's for sure. So, because certainly a lot of students don't go that medical and biological way nowadays, so that it's not as popular or fancy. So yeah.
Well, the medical people would probably have to do basic biology, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I know way back when I was at university, they also had to do basic chemistry, and they hated that.
Yeah.
It was very difficult demonstrating to med students because they definitely did not want to be there.
Yeah.
But biology are the biggest users in terms of the numbers of microscopes per class, I think.
Yeah.
And some in biochem, botany have some as well.
Yeah.
But biology are the biggest. We've got there's some very big class sizes at Sydney Uni because we recently, or about last year, I think, we did some service on some of their microscopes, and they had we serviced 700 microscopes at Sydney Uni. Not all Motic necessarily.
Yeah.
But so they have some big classes in the sort of first year biology level as well. But anyway, all right. So that's a win for today.